Welcome to another FPL video. We're looking ahead to Game Week 23. Game Week 22 hasn't finished yet, and this video is being recorded before the Brighton vs Chelsea game, so my Game Week 22 performance might change significantly after that game because I have quite a few players involved with Trossard, Cucurella and Marcos Alonso. I'm currently on 37 points after taking a -8 hit, and without that, obviously, it would have been 45 points. My overall rank went from around 69,000 to 86,000. A Ronaldo haul as my captain could change things, but that decision could actually have affected me more severely and probably put me in a more difficult position, especially when we're looking at getting Salah back in. But I'm going to be talking about my Game Week 22 performance in detail, then looking ahead to Game Week 23, how I'm currently lining up, and then also talking about the potential doubles in 23 and my transfer plans, which could obviously be affected as a result of the news we get. So let's get straight into the video. The main reason why I've plummeted around 20,000 places is because of that Ronaldo transfer. Now, Rangnick did say he should be available for that Aston Villa game, but it didn't turn out to be the case. And if it wasn't for that, I probably would have held, not gone for Ronaldo, and maybe focused on defender transfers or even a midfielder. And I was briefly considering getting Bruno Fernandes in for Mohamed Salah, and it also made things easier for getting him back in. But now that I decided to make 3 transfers, I got Trossard, Cucurella and Ronaldo in as my captain, that makes it much more difficult for me to get Salah back in, and I'm in a bit of a predicament right now because I probably have to take more hits when Salah returns, because I definitely want to have the Egyptian over the likes of Ronaldo or any premium in the game, and that includes Bruno Fernandes or Kevin De Bruyne. I was never really convinced with Trossard, but I wanted a double game week player because I needed that money in midfield, so I ended up getting Ronaldo up front. But in the end, it hasn't really paid off so far. It could still be a really good decision by tomorrow, but ultimately some things are outside our control. And, you look at these news, you have to make decisions based on that. And once again, I probably would have just held off because my plan was to probably just go without Ronaldo, despite the fact that I thought he was the best captaincy option this week. And if he had started that first game, maybe he would have gotten a big haul, maybe a double-digit return. Maybe Bruno Fernandes wouldn't have even got anything once again. He only had 1 attacking return since Game Week 10 before Game Week 22. But in the end, Bruno was a good choice for those who brought him in, and he's a nice placeholder for Mohamed Salah. But this is how my team is looking like at the moment. De Gea with 4 points. I'm fairly happy with that, considering the fact that he didn't keep a clean sheet. Marcos Alonso, very disappointing, who got a yellow card and conceded to Man City. Cucurella, not too bad, a bonus point despite the fact that he did concede, and that was a late goal by Gallagher, and it was a bit disappointing, but at the end of the day, a lot of people have Brighton defenders. Trent just always seems to be in and amongst the bonus points, and the amount of assists he gets is absolutely ridiculous, to be honest, and another clean sheet for the Liverpool defender. Then Joao Cancelo, very similar to Trent, with a clean sheet, an assist, and some bonus points, so very happy with those two. I think they are two of just the best defenders and assets in the entire game. Jeroboam scoring once again, so very happy with him, and he is definitely the best West Ham option right now and has been since Game Week 5. Diego Jota was very disappointing. He hit the post, he missed another chance, and he can be very frustrating, but I still think he's one of the best midfielders in the entire game, and we should be patient, and I would still like a triple up with Trent, Jota and Salah, especially if COVID cases coming down, as I discussed in yesterday's video. Then there's also Trossard. He blanked, and I was never really that convinced with him. He almost scored, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, and I probably shouldn't have gone for him and Ronaldo, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. Ronaldo didn't play the first game, but I'm still hoping he does make it for the second one. He was in training, and he was only travelling because of the awards. He was gifted an award in the FIFA ceremony. Then Calvert-Lewin, he blanked, and Everton failed to register a single big chance against Norwich, but Duncan Ferguson is set to be appointed the interim manager, so that could be very interesting, and there could be a little resurgence at Everton, but there is still a lot to be desired. I'm still willing to get rid of some Everton assets, including Demarai Gray, despite the fact that they could have a double game week in 24 and their fixtures are very good. Dennis was very disappointing. He came off around the 83rd minute mark, and he hasn't really been getting any points recently, and some people might link that to the fact that he didn't get called up for Nigeria, or he wasn't allowed to go to the African Cup of Nations. That could be something, but at the other end of the spectrum, Joshua King has also been a bit selfish. When Dennis was in really good positions, King wasn't really able to find a striker partner. But overall, very disappointing week so far. That could still change with the Brighton vs Chelsea game, and same with my Ronaldo captaincy and the other players I still have left to play. But still underwhelming. I'm not expecting too much from the rest of my players. Demarai Gray blanked, Foden blanked, so I'm happy to have him on my bench. Ramsdale obviously blanked in general because Arsenal versus Spurs was postponed, and Livramento missed out once again through injury. In terms of my team structure, it's not too bad, but once again, finding the means to get Salah back in is going to be very difficult. I'm happy with some players like Trent and Cancelo and Bowen, but at the same time, there's quite a few things I would like to change. Maybe a wildcard would be the right decision, but I'm still not that convinced with wildcard, and when postponements are still rampant, I would want to wait a little bit, at least a few more weeks, until things calm down, and then I can make a wildcard and not have to worry about possible postponements undermining the use of my chip. Now I'm going to be showing you my team selection and how it's lining up ahead of Game Week 23. Any potential doubles in Game Week 23 could change my team significantly, and I'll talk about that in the transfer section, but it's not looking too bad. So Ramsdale in goal at home to Burnley, that's looking pretty good. The problem there is that Arsenal versus Burnley could be postponed because Burnley are just in an absolute state right now, and that's why they just had 2 postponements against Leicester and Watford in Game Week 22. There could be another one against Arsenal, who are also looking a bit doubtful against Liverpool for the Carabao Cup second leg, and it just never seems like that game is going to go ahead, to be honest. Marcos Alonso at home to Tottenham, it's not too bad, but if I end up making some double game week transfers, then I think Alonso could actually move to the bench. Trent and Cancelo are going nowhere. Cancelo right now is my captain unless I bring in a double game week player, and let's wait and see who has the doubles. Right now it's looking likely that Aston Villa, Leeds, Newcastle, Burnley and Leicester potentially, they could have double game weeks. I'm not expecting all of them to have them, but at the same time, those games, especially for Burnley, they have to be played at some point. I'm not a big fan of Trossard, and to be honest, I have been regretting it even when I brought him in. I was just regretting the whole decision, but that Leicester fixture is still pretty decent, and if he plays as a striker or as a false 9, I think he could do very well. Dennis is my vice-captain at the moment facing Norwich, and he was my original captain, but I think I'm going to be going for Cancelo. And Calvert-Lewin at home to Villa, that's not too bad of a fixture, and that could actually have quite a lot of goals in it. And Ronaldo at home to West Ham, and yeah, honestly, there's not really too many standouts this week when you're looking at the premiums. Maybe you could be looking at a De Bruyne or a Sterling. Foden's also not a bad captaincy shout. I'm going to be going for Cancelo right now. But once again, any double game week players would change my mind. And I'll be talking about that very soon because there are other factors to consider with the double game week players, or those that could have one anyway. Gray, Cucurella and Livramento would be on my bench with De Gea as my second goalkeeper. So if Arsenal versus Burnley is suspended, I have a goalkeeper there in De Gea who is ready to go unless that game is postponed too. Let me know what you think of this team and who I should captain, who I should vice-captain. I'm fairly settled in terms of the captaincy. I think I would be going down this route. And also, some people might argue bench Bowen, but the form he's in, Manchester United's defence and a few other factors, I don't know. I just don't really think it's the right decision to do. I think Bowen would definitely be in my starting 11 in most cases unless I bring in some other players in my transfer plans, which I'm going to be discussing right now. And yeah, what are you going to be doing for Game Week 23? What are your plans? Is anyone going to be using the wildcard? If you want, smash the like button. Let's try to get to 150 likes and there could be a best wildcard team video for you lot. And I know a few of you asked me in the reaction stream, we actually built one, and there will be a new best wildcard team being made in Game Week 23 if you lot smash the like button. As you can see here, we've got 2 transfers so far. Matty Cash in defence coming in for Livramento and possibly Raphinha coming in for Demarai Gray. Now, there are pros and cons to all of these transfers, and I'll be talking about Raphinha in particular because there's something I didn't mention in my transfer tips video where I talked about Raphinha being a buy. With Matty Cash, I'm not a big fan of Aston Villa's defence. They've only kept 5 clean sheets all season, but Cash and Digne could be very good options in a potential double game week for Aston Villa. But if I'm being honest, I would rather go for a Coutinho or Watkins or someone else. I think with Aston Villa, the value lies in their attack and midfield, so I might reconsider that. And ultimately, I would want a Wolves defender like Cody or maybe Ait-Nouri if he can nail down that spot instead of Matty Cash. Now, the reason why I wanted to touch upon Raphinha is because Brazil do have some World Cup qualifiers because there were postponements from, I think, 2 years ago in March 2020. So when you look at Raphinha, he's got Newcastle at home. He should be fine to play that fixture. Then there's a kind of 2-week gap until the 9th of February when he plays Aston Villa away. Now, the reason why this could be a concern is Leeds actually have the possibility of a double game week, but that second game, I don't think players like Raphinha could actually make it. The same goes for any Brazilians, Argentinians, or any South American players, because the games for the World Cup qualifiers lie under the 27th of January and also the 1st of February. So bear that in mind. That could be very important, and it could also just change our plans in general because you want to get Raphinha in or even Coutinho, but if they're called up for Brazil and they're going to play both the games, they're going to miss out on that double game week. So you're not really getting a double game week player in essence. But I still think Raphinha is a great choice long term. If you look at those fixtures, they're fantastic up until game week 32. Then after that, it gets a bit trickier. But I think he's a great long-term purchase. Just bear in mind that second game in game week 23, if they were to have one, that could actually be under jeopardy for Raphinha, and he might not be able to make that, so he still only has one game in game week 23. A lot of what I'm saying is hypothetical, and hopefully we get some more confirmation before the deadline, but Leeds are one of the teams that could have a double game week, and if they do, and Raphinha was able to play both games, that would be really good. Kind of a counter argument I would propose is the fact that Brazil have already qualified. The same goes for Argentina. So any of their players, they could actually be allowed to go back to their clubs and play that second game. But a lot is still up in the air. We just don't know what's going to happen yet. And it would obviously be beneficial if Raphinha had the double game week and was able to play both games. Let me know what you think of this situation down in the comment section below. Coutinho is another player I'm considering. I could even take a -8 and get him in for Trossard, who I just brought in for a -8, but he was always a short-term purchase. Then there's Calvert-Lewin. He could make way for Ollie Watkins, but as I talked about in my transfer tips video, I think Calvert-Lewin is arguably a hold, and if there was any player from Everton, I would say you should probably give him another chance. It is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Demarai Gray, that's kind of a maybe, and to be honest, not a priority transfer really, but I'm looking to bolster my midfield and also find ways to get Salah back in, which ultimately has to come from Cristiano Ronaldo and probably Trossard once again making way for the Egyptian. That will be around game weeks 24-25, depending on how far Egypt go in the African Cup of Nations. But I'm fairly settled on my team, and in terms of my transfer plans, I'm flexible, but at the same time, I've got a clear idea of what I want to do. So an Aston Villa or Wolves defender will be coming in next. Then there's also the fact of Raphinha or Coutinho coming in midfield, and also up front, Ollie Watkins could be my transfer in. And in the coming weeks, I also want to find ways to get Salah back in, and that'll ultimately probably come from Trossard and Ronaldo making way, and then I'll make the according transfers. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and also what are your plans. I'll be very interested to hear them, and Game Week 23 could definitely change quite a lot from the recording of this video to when the doubles are announced, if there are any doubles, which there should be, but we just never know with these things, and this season is very difficult to predict. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. You know the drill. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM. You can also join the Discord server and the league. The links are in the description below. Good luck with Game Week 22. There's still some games going ahead, and also for Game Week 23. Enjoy the football, and hopefully there's fewer postponements, because that has just made things absolutely chaotic, and I'll see you next time.